Hi guys, welcome back to The Bright Side. Macy here, The Bright Side Girl, and today we're going to be doing my August and September reading wrap-up. I think I only read 3 books in August that weren't a part of Retold-a-thon. It was just a rough month for me. I had come back from vacation and I was just kind of all unorganized, and then I wasn't feeling the best, so I just did not get through a lot of reading, so I decided to combine these 2 wrap-ups. As per usual, we're going to go in order from least favorite to favorite. This is going to be everything I read not during a readathon, so if you want to check out my Retold-a-thon reading wrap-up, which is the majority of what I read in August, I will link that up in the cards for you guys and down below in the description. And then once it's available, I will link my Not So Scary-a-thon reading wrap-up, which was the second half of September and the first week of October. We're not quite there yet, but I will link it as soon as it's available. Most of these are going to be fall spooky season themed, except for the ones that I read in August, but we're going to go in order from least favorite to favorite, so we're just going to dive right in. I didn't have any 1 or 2 stars, thankfully. 3 stars, I had a few, but they kind of differed in how much I enjoyed them. So unfortunately, The Siren's Call was my least favorite read of August. I try to read a couple of indie mermaid books like every year because I just love mermaid books and siren books and pirate books, and I try to read as many as I can. This one is by Alana Williams. This is a young adult series, but I've heard that it kind of goes into new adult, possibly like as they continue on. I haven't continued on with the series. I don't know that I'm going to. This one kind of to me read a little bit more like a middle grade. Issues that I had with it, our main character is extremely unlikable and very annoying, and I just did not like reading from his point of view because he was just like a spoiled brat. That was my main issue with the book, and there was a reason for it, but the magicalness of the world and everything didn't make up for it to me. So unfortunately, this was only a 3-star read for me. I know there are a lot of people out there who love it. If you don't mind like a little bit of the younger writing style, and if you kind of know going in that that main character is obnoxious, it's still good in the pirate, siren, mermaid world. It's absolutely beautiful too. This is the regular hardback, and the naked book is really pretty. So not terrible, still a 3-star, just not a new favorite. Next 3-star was Haunt Sweet Home by Sarah Pinkser. This was a little spooky novella that I wanted to get to for the fall Halloween season. It's only like a 3-hour audiobook, so I snuck it in September before my readathon. This is an adult, spooky, kind of horror novella, and the premise is so cool. Basically, our main character works for this reality show that does ghost hunting / home makeovers. These people will buy and make over these houses, and then they kind of manufacture these ghosty elements, so spooky noises and different things, and kind of scare the homeowners. And so she works for this company, and then things start to happen that don't seem like they're being manufactured by the company, and we feel like we may actually be haunted. I love the premise of this. I love the atmosphere. I didn't mind our main character, but the overall story and the completion of it was just kind of like, what's the point? I'm not sure if it was just because it was so short, but I just didn't get a lot out of it. So I enjoyed like my time reading it, and I liked the overall idea. I just don't feel like it was executed super well, so it sits right at that bottom 3-star for me. Next up, we have People Like Us by Dana Mell. This is a young adult standalone novel, kind of dark academia and a murder mystery. This one's like a 3.5. I did enjoy it overall. It just got a little bit darker than what I prefer. I know reading a murder mystery, things are going to get dark, but sometimes they get into kind of like the toxic or like abusive categories that I don't love. What I loved about this one though is the premise is very cool. So we're following Kay Donovan, and she has skeletons in her closet, but the past is the past, and she has reinvented herself entirely. Now she's a star soccer player whose group of gorgeous friends run their private school with effortless popularity and acerbic wit. But when a girl's body is found in the lake, Kay's carefully constructed life begins to topple. The dead girl has left Kay a computer-coded scavenger hunt, which as it unravels begins to implicate suspect after suspect until Kay herself is in the crosshairs of a murder investigation. She gets sent this website that is made to look like recipes, and she has to solve the recipe by the ingredients and figure out what this person is wanting her to do or uncover. So it almost has like a little treasure hunting vibe, so I really liked that element of it. I thought that was so unique and very fun. I did really love our audiobook narrator. I thought she was incredible, but it was like a 3.5 as far as like the full conclusion went. Okay, I think that is all the 3 stars, so we're gonna move on to the 4 stars. Next Next we have Era of Fire by Sarah J Maas. I have a copy of this, but with all the chaos with Halloween and everything, I'm not sure where it went. So this is the third or the fourth book in the series, depending on how you read it. And I can't say too much because this, again, is in the middle of the series, but Selena is like the world's best assassin and we're in this high fantasy world. It's a whole thing. I will link the first reading wrap up where I talk about Throne of Glass down below in the cards because I can dive a little bit more into the synopsis. I'm doing this huge Throne of Glass buddy read with a bunch of friends. This one was just barely a 4-star for me. I enjoyed it, but I really liked the last book more so far. And I am enjoying the series as a whole, but I'm not incredibly obsessed like a lot of people are. I felt kind of similar about A Court of Thorns and Roses as well. Like, I still like them. I still think they're solid fantasies. I do think I'm liking this one a little bit more than ACOTAR, but I'm not sure. But so far, I think the third book was my favorite, and we're just going to continue on. I don't know if we're going to get to one in October. The books kind of get bigger and bigger as they go on, and I'm really in like my spooky season era, so I'm wanting to like save the bigger fantasies, so we'll do at least a couple more before the end of the year, if not finish the series, so stay tuned. Like a 4-star for me. Next we have Death at Morning House, and this is another like murder mystery spooky centered book. This is a 2024 new release by Maureen Johnson. First up, the narrator was amazing for this one. In this one, our main character is sent to go and work for this woman that runs this house that has a lot of history and kind of like a haunted spookiness to it. She is sent with a bunch of teenagers and they basically run like tours of this house that has like a legacy behind it. So you're following our main character in her present as she's like making friends and kind of uncovering things from her past, as well as going into the past, I think in the 1930s, and learning about the family that used to live in the house and what happened to them, because there was like a series of murderous events, and you're kind of uncovering both things at once. I loved the time jumps. I especially liked being in the 1930s era. I just felt like it was just so enchanting and like perfect for fall. And I really liked the way that things wrapped up. It was really unexpected. It definitely is a darker read, but it has some fun elements to it. And I just felt like the atmosphere of this one was just perfect for spooky season. It just gave me all the fall feels. It was one of my jump starts for September, and I was so glad I picked it. Really enjoyed this one, and it was a 4-star. Next, I read Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. Again, another 2024 new release. This one was pitched as like this cozy fantasy about this woman that runs this like magical library, and then it gets like burned to the ground, and she kind of has to flee to avoid being captured by this certain government. So she goes to this island and she starts up a like secret magical shop where she's selling like jams and things, but they really have like magical powers to them, but this is illegal in this world. And it just was the sweetest, cutest, coziest, fun read. She has this sentient, intelligent spider plant that can talk, and we have all these cozy elements of her making jam and all of this stuff, but it also still had a solid fantasy plot. There was like a little bit of action, there was some sweet romance, lots of like found familyness. She had to like get to know the people of the town, and so I really liked it because it had all of those cozy, comfy elements, but it wasn't boring at all. It still had a decent plot. Narrator for this one, I feel like is not going to work for everyone. She is good, but it has a very silly tone to it. It's very like silly and sweet and charming. It is an adult read, but I feel like it almost reads a little bit more like young adult. This one has a prequel coming out next year that I'm very excited about. It was like a 4.5, like almost a 5-star, but just not quite there. I feel like it's one that could grow on me though, and that it could change. I need to get a copy. I have read 3 different books from Sarah Beth Durst so far, and each one is incredibly different in the writing and the tone and the story, and I loved them all. I'm excited to jump into more from her, and this was like a 4.5. Next, the 5 stars, and you guys are probably already sick of me talking about these books, but I'm just gonna keep doing it until you read them. Alright, so I reread Belladonna, one of my favorite books of all time. Absolutely perfect for spooky season. 5 stars, narrator's incredible, amazing. And then I reread Foxglove, 5 stars again. I think I liked it even more than I did the first time. So good, especially the ending. Just incredible spooky goodness. And then I did all of that so that I could get to Wisteria, which is the final book in the trilogy. So Belladonna, if you're not familiar, follows Signa Faro, and she has always been kind of followed around by death. Her parents have died, her aunts died, and she can see death, and she just wants him to go away, and he keeps seeming to follow her everywhere as she moves from different home to home. Aunt dies, she gets sent to her last living relative, one of her like second cousins, and she becomes like the governess kind of their house, and she gets to meet her younger cousins and everyone that lives at this house, but they're all kind of grieving because the mother of the house has somewhat recently passed, and it was believed to be that she was just sick, but Signa thinks that there may be something more nefarious nefarious at play. This is gothic Victorian goodness. There are tea parties, there are ghosts, there are spooky things happening, there's a murder mystery to solve. It's just absolutely incredible. There's an awesome romance in here as well. Second book continues on with the series, but we also get some new characters in here that just open up the world and make it even more interesting. A fabulous cliffhanger at the end. And then we have Wisteria. By the way, the narrator for these is incredible. She's lush, she's magical, she just really sucks you into the world. I do feel like it could feel a little bit slower if you physically read it. The audio is top tier. The way she does the male voices is so good. Can't recommend it enough. This one almost put me in a book hangover. I loved it so much. It was so good. We follow specific characters in here. The world opened up even more, in my opinion. There was so much going on, but it wasn't hard to follow, and I just kept wanting to learn more, and the ending was incredible. I almost cried. I just want a spin-off of this so badly. It is just the perfect trilogy for spooky season, and there's so much like heart put into the stories and just the really well developed plot, but also great romance. Nothing really spicy, like a tiny little bit, but it is still considered young adult. There is supposed to be like a Christmas holiday novella coming out that I just squealed when I found out about. One of my all-time favorite series ever, and I was blown away that this one was my favorite in the series. I was not expecting that, but they just kept getting better as I went along. So solid 5 stars for all of Belladonna. Okay, you guys, so that is everything I read for August and September. Overall, I really enjoyed everything that I read. I found some new favorites. Let me know if you have read any of these or if you plan to in the future. Don't forget to hit subscribe and follow me on Instagram at The Bright Side Girl if you haven't already. Let me know how your August and September reading months went, and I will see you guys next time on The Bright Side.